The following presentation is brought to you by the Pride of ODU, the official NIL collective of Old Dominion Athletics. Be a monarchist. Join the Pride. Monarch Nation, welcome back. We are the Monarchists. We are here to talk about the Indiana game and preview North Carolina Central. But first, Jarod, thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Doing all right. It was a long trip there and back. We had a good time. It was fun, but could be doing better.
Definitely. So why don't you talk to us about the game day experience at Indiana first?
Yeah, it was an interesting town. I was born in Indiana, but had never been to Bloomington. So it was kind of cool to get to go see Bloomington just for me personally, for me and my dad. My dad went with me. He grew up in Indiana. He's been there. He's a big IU fan. So it was a cool place to go see, a cool place to be. The people were actually really nice. The tailgate scene seemed pretty cool. It was all right up around the stadium. So that's what I think we stayed maybe a 15 to 20-minute walk from the stadium. And we didn't really see anything in terms of tailgating or just like large amounts of people until we got right up to the stadium. It was like, oh, okay, here it all is. So it was interesting because it's just the way the town's laid out. But it was, it was a big stadium full of people. It was fun to be there. The Indiana people, like I said, they were fairly nice. I guess they talk about that. They say that we pride ourselves on being some of the nicest hosts in the country, and it felt that way. They were very nice to us. A couple people that were a little frustrated at the beginning when Colton did his thing, but other than that, I mean, it was really cool. Like the frustrations obviously pretty quickly went away for them, and they were nice people, so it was fine.
Awesome. So, Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome, man. We had a great time yesterday at Afterglow. The watch party was, last year we had some cool ones, but I'll have to say that this year, this first one was on a whole nother level. I don't know exactly how many people were there, at least 50. But everybody that was there was in good spirits. Afterglow really took care of everything. Josh has got a new setup with a new projector, big screen. Obviously the game started off on a super high note, and I think of it as a stock market. Stock market goes up. You get some real big gains, and then you got a long period of consolidation. We kind of had that going on, through the half, and then ultimately it is what it is. We'll talk about it, but I'm really, really looking forward to Saturday, to being back in the castle for Old Dominion football here in Norfolk.
All right. So, Old Dominion loses this game 27-14. I think the biggest questions we have on the offensive side are related to the passing game. Jarod, being in the stadium, what was your big takeaway from the offense?
It didn't seem great yesterday. Sitting there in the stands watching, surrounded by a sea of red. It was like, this first play, we score, we stop them again. Everybody's kind of angry. You can see it. And then we didn't really produce enough on offense, obviously. And it kind of just became like, oh, okay, well, here we go, Indiana. The fans are fine because we didn't really do enough. So that was what we were, taking away as the group that we were sitting with, was that, we didn't do enough on offense. We couldn't, whether it was missing a block or not hitting the outside or not hitting the pass, not, just catching the ball maybe one extra time. Those little things, those big plays that could happen because of those little things really could have spurred us on. And since it never really happened after that first play until basically the last, it seemed too slow. Seems like we just could not get ourselves going.
All right. So, I rewatched the game today, and I was trying to figure out, running the ball has never been an issue for Old Dominion under Kevin Decker. Obviously, this Indiana team is a great rush defense last year. We assume it'll be a great rush defense this year. But what they did a good job of yesterday was limiting our backs, forcing them to go inside the tackles. We weren't getting outside, and that's where the yardage is in this offense. So credit to Indiana's front seven; they forced us to go between the tackles all game long, and it forced us to have a pretty rough running game apart from Colton's two massive runs.
So let me ask you guys a question. Obviously, your knowledge of the game is much more in depth than mine. So, from a defensive line perspective, or even if they're bringing their linebackers up, what was it specifically that Indiana was doing to force our running backs to stay within the tackles there?
So the ends were setting the edge really well. So that forces out the tackles a little bit to block. Then it opens up space for the linebackers to fill in. So to get to the edge, it's going to be very difficult for the running backs. That's kind of what I saw. Their defensive ends did a fantastic job, and their linebackers did a good job of filling in those gaps.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. The defensive ends really set the edge well. If you watch that first play, like I know that obviously Colton took it and he went up the middle and he cut through and obviously he's gone. But when it happened, I'm pretty sure that's a read, right? I'm pretty sure he can hand it off if he wants to. I don't think that was a fully designed, I'm going to keep this every time type of play. If he had handed that off, we were hit for 4 or 5 yards in the backfield. They had four guys around our running back. And I mean, I know that's maybe them selling out, knowing we're probably going to run it right away, probably going to try to establish a little bit. But the first play of the game, I'm like, oh man, if we handed it off outside there, we lose 5 yards right away. And it's because of that, because their defensive end was out there. He got across, so he sets the edge. And then as soon as we had to go back a little bit to try to get all the way outside, two linebackers, a corner, everybody's down, just crushing us. And they did that most of the game, and it was definitely tough to get outside, like you said.
So I've been looking at PFF today to try to get the whole performance yesterday, and PFF says we pass blocked extremely well yesterday. We had, I think, one sack. Our run blocking, on the other hand, poor performance. It's like some of the decisions I saw. There were some RPOs where the ball was handed off. Maybe it should have been a keeper. There were some keepers that maybe should have been handed off. So I think it kind of is a lot like the pass game where the decisiveness wasn't there in the passing game or the running game, and it resulted in this kind of messy performance for the offense.
Yeah, no doubt. We had a handful of explosive plays, but other than that, it was a whole lot of kind of not much. I mean, to be honest, it's hard to take, and at least in my opinion, it's hard to take yesterday's game and project that going forward. There's a lot of positives that came. I think it feels a lot different. It's hard to, comparing them to what we're going to see on Saturday potentially from North Carolina Central to even what we're going to see the next game at Tech. I think we're going to have to watch 4 games with this team to really have an idea of what we're going to have for the rest of the season. There were lots of bright spots yesterday that were masked by kind of the overall feel of the game, in my opinion.
It's always tough when you go against a Big Ten defense, right? Not that we've done that a bunch, but in general, when you talk about what a conference is really strong with, there's a few conferences, the SEC, that it doesn't really matter. They're just good at everything. The Big Ten is really good at defense. That's just what they are. And it's tough to go against a team like that and perform really well the first game of the season. We've got a lot of new receivers. We've got a lot of new players in general. So it's just very tough to go do that and then say, this is exactly what's going to happen the rest of the season. Like you're saying, Aaron, hey, you can't take this one game and say, oh man, we're done. We lost a game. Oh, we lost by 13 points, 2 scores. Like, man, we can't hang with the rest of this season. I don't think that's what any Old Dominion fan should be doing, because there were positives, and that's a good team.
What I will say, though, is what you can extrapolate from this is if we can't have sustained drives this season, this is exactly the same thing will happen in the Sun Belt. Like the defense had so many bright spots yesterday, but they can only do it for so long before they wear down within a game and then wear down within a season as you get to the back end. So what I'll be looking for, especially this coming week, but then throughout the season, is those 3 and outs. We talked about this last week, not having 3 and outs, being able to move the chains. Even if you're not scoring, you're possessing the ball, you're moving the ball, you're doing those sorts of things to, one, wear down the opposing defense, but two, give your defense the chance to actually recover, regroup, both physically and mentally. So they just not constant pressure on every part, of their being.
Yeah. So you're talking about bright spots. Obviously, I think the biggest bright spot in yesterday's game was the red zone defense. This game could have been a lot uglier. The score could have been a lot more lopsided than it was. Probably should have been, but the red zone defense stiffened up. Like we've gotten used to this over the last couple of years. We are really tough to score on in the red zone, and that was the case yesterday. They definitely left at least 17 points on the board. 9, if you want to just say there should have all been field goals, but I don't know. It feels like that is something that's going to carry us throughout the season. And one other good thing the defense did yesterday, and I got to give credit to the defensive staff, is the amount of rotation on defense is going to develop this defense to be even deeper than we expect it to be and fresher the longer in the season. Because 41 minutes on the field yesterday, we got crushed in time possession. And it seemed like in the second quarter, they started cycling in more guys. So they kind of saw where this was going. And to protect our starters, they were giving them bigger breaks by allowing the second team defense to come in. And they did a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to what you said about the red zone defense. At one point in the game, I think it was the second time we stopped them. It might have been even the third. It was in the second quarter. I can't remember, but there's a guy that was sitting in front of us. He was the one that really was not very happy when things weren't going well. He didn't really say much to us. His whole family, everybody else was talking to us, and he was sat there focused. Well, they're finally winning, but we got down, backed up into our goal line again, and he turns around and he says, "Well, this is just where Indiana struggles." And I looked over at my dad and Plisco and I was like, "I don't know. I kind of just think this is where we're really good." And you're right. So you said that was something we've done the last couple of years now. We are just very good at red zone defense. We do not like to give it up. And it's a really cool thing to see because, I would say back in the day, that wasn't something we were great at. But it's really fun to watch that because, man, getting the fourth down stop on 4th and 1 or 4th and goal on the 1 yard line it's a lot of fun to see.
And it was great to see yesterday against this team. Obviously, they can run the ball. I mean, they did it against us. And to be able to do it against that sort of team with that sort of size, that sort of talent carrying the rock, that's going to translate. So that's one of those bright spots that I think that we have the potential to see all season long. So hopefully our offense is able to do more. We've got to be able to do more to set our defense up to sustain that success throughout the season.
What that tells me is this defense has a ton of heart. Because when your back is up against the wall and you continue to fight, that's what the defense did yesterday in the red zone. So props to them for that. Offensively, there were a few drives in the second quarter where it looked like we were starting to get things going, and then we continually just shot ourselves in the foot. Very frustrating. I think we got to talk about the passing game a little bit more and those picks. I've seen a lot of people criticizing this wide receiver unit, but I feel like it's not in sync yet. And I kind of tried to warn everyone last week in the preview that this passing game is going to take some time to gel. And you can kind of see it. It's just they're not. Our best pass plays yesterday were one check reads and throws, where Colton didn't have to think. He knew his number one receiver knew what was coming right to him, and that's when we were successful. And those plays were between 0 and 9 yards. If you look at his passer rating between 0 and 9 yards, it was 90. Colton was perfect between 0 and 9 yards. The issue he had was in the intermediate throws where timing matters even more. And we saw some throws behind the receivers, some balls that are very high, just not really hitting them in stride. So you can put that on the receivers, you can put that on the quarterback, but overall the timing just isn't there on those intermediate throws.
That's got to change this week, at least some. Like, we have to see progression. It's funny when you said that they weren't in sync. The first thing that came to mind was like Justin Timberlake. I was not thinking football for some reason. So we have to. It's got to be better this week. We have to see at least. We've got to see some progression, because come week 3, and I'm not looking past week 2 because we've had some close FCS opponents in the last couple times. We have to win convincingly this week and go into Virginia Tech with some confidence.
It's funny that you said that, Aaron, because that is the exact word I was about to say. Is sometimes in a game like this, the one coming up, it's going to boil down to if he has confidence or not. If he has confidence in his throws, if he has confidence in his receivers against NC Central, he should be on the money. He should be throwing darts. It should be very easy for him, because when you go against a Big Ten team, a team like Indiana or even South Carolina last year, SEC game, when Grant maybe hit, threw a couple that were high, and the last one they got tipped and they intercepted it. Those things, it's such a small margin of error when you're playing against these bigger teams with these really good players, these guys that are so fast. So regardless of if we got the guy, I mean, we do. Colton is he's a good quarterback. He's got an arm. He's athletic. There's that little bit of doubt in your mind when you're going against these awesome players, this awesome talent, that, oh, maybe if I don't throw it harder, he's going to get there. Maybe if I don't put it up high, he'll be able to jump to it. And it's like all those little thoughts that are going through his head against a bigger team like this should be all cleared out next week. And if we don't see that next week, like you're saying, then we might have a problem going through the rest of the season, because the confidence will be low. The talent's not low, but the confidence matters so much. So when your confidence is high, you're playing well. Your confidence is low, it doesn't really matter how good you are. You're not going to be playing well. And we really need to see him step up, make those plays, build the confidence up, and just kind of beat the crap out of this team next week. That's what we need to see.
Yeah, I would also tell fans that watch the game and they're a little maybe worried about the passing game and our offense to take a look around college football yesterday. There's a lot of high-value quarterbacks around the country that played terrible yesterday. Arch Manning is obviously the most obvious one we can all list. Rough game from him. Nussmeier separated himself last night from Kate Klubnik with how he managed that offense for LSU. You look at a team like Liberty, they were tied, or they were down 7-0 at the end of the third quarter to Maine. They put it together in the fourth quarter, but again, that's an FCS. Like, week 1 is just sometimes results in some ugly football. Fernando Mendoza, great quarterback, very highly paid. He missed a lot of throws himself. So it's not unusual in week 1. They say the biggest jump is from week 1 to week 2. And if we don't see a jump this week, then we have something to talk about.
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
I would
Did you
try
guys
to
see
look around
Mendoza's
the college
QBR?
football landscape. What's
What
that?
was that, Jarod?
Mendoza's QBR yesterday?
Yeah, 66.9.
Yeah, 66.
Not much better than Colton's.
Not much better than Colton.
No.
Like, he didn't have a great game. That's some credit to our defense, because our defense is pretty
Of
freaking
course.
good.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. I think you're absolutely spot on. Week 1 is a tough place to be as a starting quarterback in Division I college football, because if you're not perfect, everybody's going to freak out. And if you are perfect, then everybody's going to say that you're the best thing in the entire world, and you better not ever go less than that. So it's a tough place to be. And, against good teams, it makes it even harder.
So let me ask you guys a question. So one of the things we talked about last week, Mike, and we've been talking about for the last month, is the tight end position. Obviously, last year, Pat Conroy was our one guy. He played really well last year, and he was a difference maker. Yesterday, we had one reception. We didn't have many receptions overall in the game, but we had 1 reception for the tight end position for 4 yards. Is that more of a product of what we had to do yesterday and keeping tight ends to block, or does that concern you guys going forward?
I think it had to do with the opponent. I mean, let's be honest. We didn't have much time to. We did do well pass blocking, but we were purposely trying to get rid of the ball quickly because we know how good of a pass rush they do have. So I think it was more of just we needed them to block more often than they needed to. They were out in pass coverage because that 1 reception was the only target we had of a tight end.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Is we didn't target him a bunch for that reason. We absolutely needed the blocking. It's just it'll change game to game. I'm not concerned. I'm really I don't want to be the I'm always the optimist type of guy, but I'm not really concerned yet with the offense based on this game, just because of all of the things. Like, it was tough. I know it's just because Colton is just Colton. It's what he does, but we still scored 2 badass touchdowns. Like, that is just on Colton just being a freak. There's some good blocking, but he is just something special when it comes to that. But I'm just not really concerned yet with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, that's something positive that I can take forward in that ability is not going to wane. We talked about it last week. All it takes is 1 linebacker or 1 safety taking the wrong line, missing a tackle, and that guy can go 90 yards. But we're not going to be playing Indiana every week. So growing up playing baseball, man, the way I look at it is, swinging a bat with a donut on it. Next week, that bat should feel lighter. It should. I should be swinging that bat with more confidence. Like you said, next week is a big week to me. North Carolina Central won their first game. We're kind of like, okay, but they got brought back down to earth this week in their home game. So we should handle these guys. We really should.
Hey, Aaron, who did they play this week?
This past week? New
Yeah.
Hampshire.
What was the score in this game?
27-10.
So I know in game 1, they didn't pass the ball that well. North Carolina Central didn't, but they ran the ball extremely well. How did they run the ball against New Hampshire?
They barely cracked 100 yards.
I think we're going to have a fun week on defense this week.
Yeah, I think this is the week that the fellas, just like you said, there's no other way where everybody eats. It's not 1 or 2 guys. Like, this has the potential, and honestly, it should be. We've been talking about it for a while. This current Old Dominion football team has more talent on it than we've seen in quite some time. And if you have season tickets, if you don't have season tickets, you need to be here this week. You get a much better preview of what to expect for the rest of the season. It's come out and have fun, man. It's this is the week that we get right.
So one other topic I kind of want to talk about is pass rush. So that's been a criticism of this Siler defense the last couple of years, that we can't generate pass rush. I thought we did a pretty good job yesterday with mixing up the blitzes and keeping Mendoza a little bit off kilter. We get 6 hurries on him, 1 that should have led to a interception. We just didn't pull in. Mario Easterly did a great job kind of putting that pressure on him. Jeremy Mack gets a sack. I think Gus Javin Gibson gets a pressure. Chris Trinidad got a pressure. Jerome Carter. Like, we got pressure from guys at every level on the defense yesterday. And that's a sign of, like, the defense was – I thought they played pretty well overall, except in the run game is where we really got taken advantage of. So, against North Carolina Central, that'll be where we need to show our biggest growth this week, I think, is in the run game on defense. Now, there's a topic I want to talk with Jarod about before we go too far. The punter has a big leg. And I don't know, like, the video on Fox doesn't give you that all 22 vision. So from watching at home, it looked like he may have outkicked his coverage a couple times. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I thought number one, he's the best punter we've had in a while. as long as he keeps this up, because he had some really good punts yesterday. He did have
Oh yeah.
the one that wasn't, he kind of shanked it off to the side when he got some pressure, and he got lucky that he got hit afterwards, because then it was the running into the punter and he got to kick it again, and he hit a good punt that time. And then, of course, we had the touchdown. I didn't think he really outkicked the coverage, but I don't think that's because he wasn't kicking it far enough. I think he just kicked the crap out of it and put it up high in the air, and he was able to get us a good punt every time. The one that they scored, I wanted to bring it up, obviously, because it's something for us that, when Plisco and I are watching together, it's like the things that we really care about. Obviously, it's what we did. And it's so frustrating to me when the ball hits the ground, what happens in guys' minds. As soon as the ball hit the ground and I saw him not run away, I went, oh God, uh-oh. I could see it happening because he didn't go away from the ball. So if he's standing there when the ball hits the ground and he's still standing there waiting for it, it's pretty clear that he's going to pick that thing up unless he just last second changes his mind. So you have to continue the play. You have to keep doing what you're doing. You have to you have to keep the outside leverage. You have to just do the thing you were supposed to do in the first place. And what happens when the ball hits the ground is a lot of guys go, I'm just going to go to the ball. And then some of the guys go, oh, well, I hit the ground. It's over. I'm not sure that that's exactly what happened, obviously, because it's a quick little thing and all of a sudden it happens and they score a touchdown. But if we're all doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, if the ball hits the ground or doesn't hit the ground, they're not scoring a touchdown right there. And it just, as soon as it happens, you can see it. And it just did not look good. It's very frustrating for that to happen.
I will give credit to the lead blocker for that punt returner. He did something very smart that a lot of blockers don't do. And he ran with the returner and hit the brakes while he was running away. So he doesn't risk getting a block in the back or anything like that, but they can't get past him.
Yep.
So he creates that lane for him to get away.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Very frustrating. We should have had a
that was a savvy play.
Yeah, and that was right after a goal line stop. We're starting on our own 1 yard line. We push it out. We get a few yards. That guy in front of me that I was talking about, he actually screamed out, "Who the is this team?" As we stop them on the goal line, and then we get 2 first downs, and we did everything, and the punt is good, and it's all these things, and then we give that up, and it's like you just can't. Oh no, was that the fumble? That was the fumble, wasn't it? That was right after they fumbled, and then that's when they ran the touchdown back, was the next that drive. So the goal line stop, we get it out, we flip the field. That is what happened. Sorry. We flipped the field, we put them back in, and we stopped them again. So that's, a touchdown on the first play, a goal line stop, and a fumble back to back to back.
And that's why your boy in front of you was losing the shit.
Yeah, and he's getting angry. And we're hearing it. And my dad's an Indiana fan, but he's wearing his ODU gear. He's wearing both. And he's looking at me going, look at this guy. He's getting angry. This is kind of fun. Like, even my dad doesn't like when Indiana loses, but he was like, this is pretty funny. I like this. And then we do that crap. And it's like we were putting them on the back foot a little. We were getting their fans angry. The boo birds were coming out when they didn't when I think they did something that the fans started booing pretty quick. And like it was, all the right things were happening, and then we give up a touchdown on a punt return where we just kind of don't really do our job, and then that it changes the momentum so fast.
I mean, ultimately, we said last week we have to play a perfect game, and we've got to have a handful of big momentum changing plays on the other side, and we didn't play a perfect game, and we didn't have enough of those plays. Kind of what we expected. Obviously I always do my picks, but we're winning by a 50-yard field goal. But I think we all knew that how this game was probably going to play out. If you're thinking with your brain and not with your heart, it is what it is. Everything has to go right to win games like this, especially when you have so many new guys, which we do. Colton's got so many new guys. So, seen a lot of stuff online where people are upset about this, or they have these expectations that we should win this game, like hoping that we win a game and being positive. We get a lot of criticism for being the positive guys, which, we try to be honest and authentic, but see through a positive lens. But no one legitimately should think that's a game that we should absolutely win. Do we want to? Do we have the ability to win? Absolutely, we have the ability to win that game. But we have to do a whole lot more right than they do. If you're looking at, they have a lot more room for error when you've got players that are, much bigger, much faster, deeper type of thing. So I don't have any worries about this week until I have worries for this week. We'll see. But I'm thinking, like you said, Mike, earlier, this should be a really fun week for Old Dominion fans and players.
Yeah, it should be. They had 3 All-Americans on their defense that were returning. 3 returning All-Americans. I don't know how many teams in the country can say that. And it's at every level of their defense. Their defensive line, their linebackers, their secondary. And the other corner is pretty damn good too. It's like we were playing a stacked defense yesterday, and it's not surprising that we had our struggles. Yeah. We were hoping for better, but you get crushed in time of possession. You have way too many penalties, way too many turnovers. That is not a recipe for success for us in a game where we had to be perfect, and we weren't. So you take what you can from this game. Maybe it's easier to go into Blacksburg now that you've been in this big environment in Indiana, and you can learn from that. But, yeah. Let's take a quick break. We're going to shout out, do an ad for Afterglow here. Thank you for hosting our watch parties. They will be the watch party location for every away game. Please come out. It's a lot of fun. Great meeting ODU fans. But yeah, we'll be right back.
Hey Monarch fans, Gary here coming to you from downtown Chicago with your Week 2 Fade Gary picks. We were 3-0 in Week 1, 3-0 in Week 0. We're going to try to continue this momentum, but always watch out for regression. We've got 3 picks for you this week. First one, Ole Miss -9.5 at Kentucky. I think this Lane Kiffin offense is going to run all over Kentucky all day long, and Lane Kiffin, he also likes to cover. Second pick, SMU, 3-point favorites at home against Baylor. I like SMU after what I did not see from Baylor the week before. Final pick, late night, Stanford +18.5 at BYU. Both teams are rebuilding, but I trust Stanford's defense much more. Expect a low-scoring affair. See you all this weekend in Norfolk. Go Monarchs.
I know that guy.
Yeah, so if you came to the watch party yesterday, you had a chance to be in that new ad for Afterglow that I made this afternoon. So thanks to everyone that showed up this week, though. Home game. Time to get back in the castle. North Carolina Central visits us. Kickoff at 6 o'clock. Tailgate lots open at 2. Time to get this campus rocking again. So I'm going to ask you guys, obviously we have a lot to prove after this week, and we're still kind of an unknown. Like Aaron said, it might take a few weeks of the season for us to even understand how good or bad we are. And I don't think that answer is really going to be this week either, because we have a FCS team that we should handle coming into town. But I guess I'll quickly ask you guys, because I know you guys are kind of on a time crunch here. What is the one thing you want to see from the Monarchs in this game? So, Jarod, why don't you start us off?
I want to see an explosive passing game. That's really it's something that we have not had for a while. And then when, like you said a little bit ago, Aaron, when we've played the smaller teams, we're expecting to win by a lot. The last few times we really haven't. So I would like to see, I know we want to control time of possession. I know we want to sustain drives, keep the defense off the field, but I want to see some big plays that are not Colton just running the ball. As much as I love seeing that, the kid's amazing. I love seeing it. I want to see some big plays from some receivers that say, hey, I'm better than you. I'm going to beat you right now. And then go and do it. And go score a dang touchdown. Because it gets the crowd going. It does all the things. And so that's what I want to see. I just want to see us pass the dang ball. I know we're not going to get back to Taylor Heineke days right away. That's tough to do. But, man, it'd be nice to see us pass the ball really well.
I like how you said right away, because that means it's coming. All right, I want to see two things. The first one is I want to see full fucking stands. I want to see people come to this game, tailgate, have a good time. Like, we've been waiting for this since last November. Come out, have a great time with your friends, invite new people. Let's fill the stands and let's make a lot of noise. Okay. The second thing is I do want to see what you're talking about, but I want to see us be able to I want to see two more things. I want to see us be able to run the ball right down their throats. Outside, inside, it doesn't matter. Run the ball, set up the passes that you're talking about. The other thing I want to see is us get some pressure on the quarterback. Let's get some quarterback hurries, some quarterback knockdowns, and some sacks. Like, let's see what that defensive line and then what Coach Seiler can scheme up of where he's going to bring stuff. I want this game should be dynamic on both sides of the ball. It should be a really fun time. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm excited to get back in the castle. Check out this new beer garden suites. They look pretty interesting. Get to hang out with you guys in the tailgate lot. Get to see some of our old friends that we haven't seen since last season. But for football-wise, I want to see these receivers and quarterbacks and Colton just link up more off, like be more in sync. If we can start to see that, I see a path to much more success for Old Dominion this year, but I got to see it first. And we didn't see that this week. All right. What you got, Aaron?
No, I was going to say, yeah, boy.
I'm excited.
All right,
I'm so ready, man. I'm so
really
ready
excited
for Saturday.
I actually have to miss the next two home games. I'm going to be gone.
What?
And not super excited about it, but I will be watching, of course. So this one, I don't get to watch another home game for a while. So this one I'm really excited about. I hope we obliterate this team. And if we're doing score predictions, I'm coming with a good one. So just
nice.
All right. Win.
Well, just go into it.
Yeah. I'm going to say 48-0 is what I want to see.
Sorry.
And I'm not kidding.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, you heard me. I'm going to say I want to see 48-0 in this game. You know why? Because I think we're going to score some touchdowns. I like our kickers right now. Our kickers and punters are doing – they look good. So I think we're going to kick the ball well. So I'll give them 2 field goals. That's why I'm not saying 49. I'm not saying we're missing an extra point. I'm saying we're going to kick some field goals. But I think that in a game like this, we should not have a drive that we have to punt. We may have one just because it happens every once in a while, but that we should be finishing drives in this game. And our defense played pretty all right against Indiana, didn't they? Against these guys, I don't see them crossing the 50-yard line a lot. Maybe the occasional big play, because that just tends to happen every once in a while. But their kicker, his longest field goal is 35 yards. I think he's a young guy. I was looking. I think he's a young guy still. He's I guess he'll be in his junior year right now, maybe redshirt sophomore. I can't remember exactly what it looks like. I think it's redshirt sophomore year. So he's still not, he hasn't done it a ton yet.
You can do that with your opposite leg that you don't kick with.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, I can actually kick a 35-yarder with my left leg. Yes.
And you're like,
yeah, and like I said,
you're getting up in age.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. With bad knees, well, a bad left knee, not really a bad right knee, but I don't see them getting very far across the 50-yard line. So if they're going to score some field goals, he's going to have to make some long ones. He's a big kid. It says he's 6'2", 190. So I mean, he's a big kid. So he might have a leg on him. I don't know, but he's made 2 this year, so I'm sure they'll try it if they get close enough. But it should be some long field goal attempts because I don't see them freaking scoring touchdowns. And that's how I think the team should view this game. The team should view this game. They want to get it. They want to get a shutout. They want to put up a goose egg. This is not a team that should be scoring touchdowns on us. And it's not a team that we should have to punt against. We should finish drives this week. So that's what I'm saying. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, we got to clean up the penalties to avoid punts. Aaron,
we had
what do
too
you got
many
here?
of those. Well, I mean, what I predict every week, but I feel so freaking good about this week. I'm abandoning my normal pick that I've done probably
As
every
you
single
should.
time we've ever, as I should.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if the score is mathematically possible, but we're going to win 56-3. Their quarterback will kick a 50-yard field goal because it'll be right at the end of the game. They won't want to give the shutout, but that's what I'm going with, baby.
Did you just say their quarterback will kick a 50-yard field goal?
I might have. I'm so excited.
I
mean, it could be anybody.
I was a little confused.
Somebody on the other team is going to do it.
That's okay. Hey, man, if he makes a 50-yard field goal, that's great. As long as it's not above 52 at that stadium.
Oh.
Because
yeah, we don't want that happening.
There.
No.
So just saying.
We got to keep that intact.
Yeah,
Mike, what's yours?
All right. I'm going to say 45-7.
How are they getting their
How they getting that 7?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a fumble return for a touchdown. Something sloppy when we're trying to run this clock out.
But damn right, our defense is not giving up scores.
We should dominate. Yeah. Again, that'll be in garbage when we're playing some guy more experience. I want to see a full quarter of Quinn Hennicle at quarterback. I want this game to be put away so early that we can give him a whole quarter or more of experience. That's what I want to see this week.
That'd be awesome.
If that doesn't happen, something went wrong.
That's a real good one.
You think I can get some carries?
I don't think you'd like the result, Aaron.
Good point. How about try to kick a field goal?
It's not as easy as it looks either.
Oh, I didn't say it was easy.
That's
why I said try. I didn't say make. I said try.
Didn't you use your eligibility as a cheerleader?
I did. I actually don't have any left.
Dang.
Shh, don't tell Ricky. I can just run out right from the beer garden. I mean, it'd be right there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a thought.
Maybe we could sneak you out there for a kick return. You can just let it sail over your head.
Good point. It's probably best.
All right, folks. This is a kind of an expedited episode. We thank you for listening, but we got to cut this one short for Aaron's birthday. He's got to go celebrate with his family. Happy birthday this week, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
What do you got to add?
Thanks, man. I get to golf. Well, what I do is not considered golfing. Be at the golf course. I'll be a good cheerleader, just like I was at Mary Washington in my Division III athletic days. But I do want to tell people, hey, make sure that if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that. Follow us on social media. We'll have the post-game presser live. Nobody else will. So be looking for those alerts or posts on social media. So we'll be in there, and we'll bring that to you right after the game. And Jarod, hope we see you there, man, in the silver lot with your crew.
Yeah, we'll be right in the same spot as last year, right outside of the Alumni Center. I think we're on the little median in between the two parking lots, so we'll be right there again. Trying to do something big this year. We got like 3 spots together that everybody knows that we're going to be together, so it should be cool.
And I'll add one last thing of things I want to see. People in the tailgate Get out there, have fun, but get your butts into the stadium before kickoff. Don't loiter out there. Come in. Let's actually create a home field advantage. Don't come in, with 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
And get yourself a Yeti. That's the big thing this week. The $50 Yeti with the running Monarch on it.
But it is, yes, it's pretty cool looking.
It's going to only be available at the games.
Yeah, if you don't get it at the game, you will never get it unless your buddy does, and you kick his ass for it.
All right. On that note, I think that's a good place to end this. Jarod, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, and I always have a good time talking football. So go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.
We appreciate you. Go Monarchs.